Jurassic Park. Now playing the theater.
Ecto goggles with Ecto Bomber, neutron blaster, and water zapper, each sold separately.
From the corner penthouse of Spook Central all the way to Star Killer Base, this is Yes Have Some Podcast.
Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags.
The only place in the multiverse where you can love the book, hate the movie, but still buy all the toys.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
What?
Please remember to hold on to your butts and get ready to get stressed. With your hosts, Craig Goldberg, Abigail Gardner, and Jacob Walsh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg. Welcome to May or July or whenever it is, because nobody knows.
I wrote down YHS May something for the header on my notes.
We're working at. Last week we elected Jake the May Queen, May King. Something happened. Last week feels like a year ago, and a year ago feels like a month ago. I have no context of anything, but I'm happy to be here. Abigail Gardner, how are you doing?
No concept of time.
I have nothing.
I'm glad that Jake was the May King / Queen last month, and yeah, welcome to May. Wait, no,
month.
It's still May.
It's still May. New May King every month.
I never know what day it is.
Jake, what's up, man? How are you?
I didn't even realize today was the day to record until you called me earlier and was like, hey, I emailed you.
Well, I hope you put together your fuck budget at least.
Yeah, I mean,
I did my homework.
That part was pretty easy.
It's like you're homeschooling us. It's like you're our teacher.
Yeah, I'm like a parent. I'm like one of those parents that's a homeschooler now. I was looking, I got a Facebook memory today. Can you guys believe that we saw Batman Forever in theaters a year ago with Zach Myers?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I looked at that and it kind of made me sad because we also had like a root beer float party that night. And it was just like we went to my favorite movie theater, Atlantic Station, which has like a piano outside of it and all this cool shit. And that was the night I miss it. I miss it so much.
We prepared, we did this video where we put Dan Aykroyd's face on a Star-Lord cardboard cutout. And we, we did...
Jake, I remember that.
Cool.
It's like I feel like I'm telling Jake a story. Like he wasn't there. He's like, that's something that happened.
You tried to put Jake to bed.
I'm regaling, filling him in on what happened in his life.
Is that what we did?
Which and then Jake and I, we had a conversation the other day about how we're almost a year from Ghostbusters Fan Fest, which is just insane.
Yeah.
And Jake, you were telling me that you missed it.
Yeah, I saw one of. I believe it was somebody. One of the German Ghostbusters. I think like reshared their video, and I watched it, and I missed being there. It reminded me how much fun we had.
But you did remember being there.
Did I go?
Yeah.
Yes,
Tell
I
me you
remember
didn't block it out.
I remember being there. I just it just brought back memory. Seeing the setup of the location again.
No, I remember everything too, and just like you, Jake, I miss it. It was a lot of fun. Just to be out on the other side of the country with the three of us, like it's always fun to do a big trip and having it be Ghostbusters focused and meeting all those people and seeing friends. It was great. I miss it.
It was great. It was a crazy day. And we'll have to do like a 1 year celebration or something on Ghostbusters Day this day, which you forget that's why we were there. It was for Ghostbusters Day. And also, there's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out. It's just not coming out now. Like we thought right now we'd be in like the zone, like getting ready, like revved up. But we got a little bit more time. But we've got Bill and Ted coming later this summer. And this was really funny. One of my favorite ongoing things is every time they announce a new release date for New Mutants, our friend of the podcast, Matt Provençal, like he just, for some reason, that's just something he loves because that movie literally shot in 2014 and it's been pushed back like 12 times. I think we've talked about it before. It's just like every time Ben Wyatt joins the accounting firm on Parks and Rec.
And then has to leave.
And then he leaves. But they announced August 26th, I believe, we're going to finally get to see New Mutants, in theory. So
in theaters?
we'll see.
Question mark.
it says in theaters.
Something's gonna happen. Like the MCU is gonna announce that they're fast tracking their mutants movies and like, oh, we can't have that one come out.
They've been quietly
Something's
filming.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
The movie's not coming.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. It'll whatever happens, it'll just like the pandemic will be over, everything will be back to normal, but they're still not going to let New Mutants in the theaters.
They're gonna change the name to Old Mutants.
At this point, dude, that's 6 years.
I mean, I talked about how like Logan, Kim, and McKenna Grace are going to be like
They're 6-year-old mutants at this point.
Yeah,
It's not that
they're going to be
new.
older by the time Ghostbusters comes out, but like these kids are like Arya Stark was a child when she filmed that movie, and she had sex in Game of
By
Thrones.
the end of it, yeah.
So it's been years and years and years. So welcome to the New Mutants podcast, and
Where we only talk about Game of Thrones.
yes. I'm on the wrong email here. Hold on, Jake. Before we did the
words.
So what happens is I call you and you call me and we figure out when we're going to call and record it. But
Yeah.
before we called and recorded it, you said you went to Walmart because you had a little insight on maybe a couple Ghostbusters figures. How did that go?
Went to Walmart. They had one each of the Stay Puft and the Slimer on the shelves. I do have these pre-ordered, but I wanted to get a second set so I can open them. And good thing I'm planning on opening these because the packaging is terrible.
What happened?
I don't know. The Slimer's wet for some reason. The card
He
the
gets
card
into
is
things.
like curled and wet, and it's not in good condition. I'm a little annoyed because the Stay Puft has like a little piece of blue paint. You know, he's wearing like the bib thing,
Right.
but then there's the white like stripe on his like bib. Well, there's like a thing of blue paint, like somebody fucked up and accidentally slipped and got some blue in the white.
Oh shit.
And that's annoying, but I can probably fix that. Also, I mean, I got another one of these coming.
Yeah.
So
Well, it is.
yeah, I just went and grabbed them so I can open a set.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Since Slimer's in good condition, and you'll be able to, you can fix that little Stay Puft with a little bit of paint.
Yeah, it's just a little thing that's dumb and but like it's something that collectors like. He was probably the last one on the shelf for that reason.
Right. Well, congratulations. I still haven't seen those
you.
ones. In
Like the little
stores.
red dot on the cashmere sweater in Seinfeld
Exactly.
Yeah.
that George bought for
No
Elaine.
one will know. Hey, Jake's gonna invite someone to his house, be like, "Hey, I've got a really nice toy collection." They're gonna walk in and immediately go, "What's that on Stay Puft?"
What's that blue dot?
So yeah, thank you to Hasbro for sending us out the Real Ghostbusters figures. We did a contest on YouTube. We picked our winner today. You can check out the YouTube channel to see if it was you. But the person who won already contacted
Was it me?
I was gonna say it was Jake because he had a malfunctioning or whatever, an imperfect Stay Puft.
Was it me?
Jake, listen, we could have easily rigged this contest.
Tainted.
We could have given Jake all the prizes.
Can you just imagine us do a contest and I win it?
That'd be great.
No one would notice.
But
call us out.
Craig from Chicago, actually a guy named Craig won.
His name's Craig, huh?
Yeah, but he's from Chicago.
That's-
I'm from.
Craigitism.
Oh, I'm actually from Chicago.
Chicago.
Did we just coin a new phrase?
Craigitism.
Craigitism. When we run contests
When
and I
you
give
favor
prize.
people named Craig from
Yeah,
Chicago.
I'm like, hey man, I know it's tough having the name Craig because let's face it, it's not a great name.
No.
It's
not a good name.
It's not.
Oftentimes in TV shows, like the idiot or like the Shamil is going to be a Craig.
Yeah, it's always a douchebag.
Like an X is always Craig.
It's always creepy. But no, congratulations to Craig for winning those figures. We'll get those out to
Craig,
you.
you're a winner on YHS.
That's why.
Congratulations.
That's why I did it. I just wanted to keep saying that. And also there's reports of the Ghostbusters Plasma Series figures popping up everywhere at Target. I've been to a couple Targets. I missed them just by a day. The Target I was at yesterday did not have them, and I was informed by a listener this morning that specific Target had them, and he grabbed all of them.
Well, those are I mean, like, if you're going, I mean, technically those are yours then, and he has to give those to you because you already went to that store. So
Yeah. It's like you
I'm
left
sorry,
a mark.
but
That happened.
he needs to return those
Yeah.
immediately.
To my house.
We're very territorial
house.
about our targets.
It's been weird. I'm telling you, the only people in the toy aisles during the pandemic are collectors. There's no kids and parents shopping for toys. So
It's the way it should be.
It is the way it should be, but I get very
It's wonderful.
Listen, we talked about this on one of our first episodes about how annoying it is when you see a kid in the toy aisle. In fact, I think Jeffrey DeGamarino, he had an idea for a T-shirt. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it was basically like us, like the silhouettes of us in a toy aisle, like dragging a kid out of it, or so. It was very violent. I didn't know what it was, but
I like I don't know. We watched the most recent episode of SNL, and they had like a musical number called Let Kids Drink.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should have one that's keep kids out of the toy aisle.
I mean, I would write that song because
Yeah.
they don't belong there, and
No.
yeah. Anyways, but yeah, Plasma Series figures are out. Apparently, in the case of 8, Gozer and Peter are double packed. So because he said he left a Gozer and a Peter behind, and I went to that Target, and by the time I got there, they were gone. So whoever that mystery person is also owes me toys.
Mm-hmm.
That's
What's funny to me is that most of them probably listen to this. I feel like it's a really small community of people, and we all are probably buying them.
It's the same 5 people.
Yeah, and then reselling them later.
Also, you pre-ordered those.
I did. They're coming. I need that rush of finding them in the store.
Gotcha. Yeah.
We're gonna move on. A little bit more toy talk here, though. There's a discussion. I'm on the Fwoosh action figure forums.
Who?
Fwoosh.
What is that?
What?
FWOOS.
Koosh?
Is that a toy?
It sounds like a
Fwoosh?
toy. Listen, there's great discussion about toys, but there are hardcore
Is that a dating app?
Fwoosh. Yeah, it's for collectors to find other collectors. That's
a good
kind of
idea.
fun.
Yeah.
What's your ideal evening? A long walk in the Target toy aisle. What's that noise you just made?
I liked it. That's my late
Listen,
night.
I wanted to throw this to. I know,
Call Quest.
Jake. I have a question for you. There's people that are complaining about the Ghostbusters Plasma series. Not people within the Ghostbusters community, but just general toy collectors, that they are billed as 6-inch scale, but they're actually about 5.5 inches, pretty much the same height as the Mattel Matty collector figures. And there's people that are upset because they feel like Hasbro should scale these figures in the same scale as they do with Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series, because like their thought is like, hey, what if I want Ray Stantz to be hanging out with Scarlet Witch? I'm not going to be able to. It won't make any sense. Right. My question to you, Jake, is: do you care?
I would say to those people, like, if they were, if that collective community of people were listening to us tonight, I would just say, go fuck yourselves.
That's it.
Because it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing to be annoyed about.
By the way,
But I want to mix my figure.
it is weird.
Jake, you okay?
I just opened a toy.
Oh,
did you?
Live unboxing.
Wow.
A wet Slimer unboxing.
That's exactly what I opened.
And also, Craig Strong t-shirts are available in the Yes Have Some shop. And Jake's shirt's going to drop tomorrow. It's just a black shirt with white text that says, go fuck yourself. And it's going to be good. It's going to be really
With
good.
a picture of Alan Grant.
It says, don't talk to me on it.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. It is funny.
Hey, how come Slimer can't hold these foods? What the fuck?
Dude, I understand.
What's
Jake,
the
I'm
point?
sorry. But I also want to say that I've been playing with a Slimer myself. It's Lady Slimer. It's like the one with the ecto goop that you can like.
Ecto goop.
You know what it's called?
Have you ever seen Ghostbusters? It's called slime.
It's the goop. No, it's from Answer the Call, and I was opening it up to play with while you were opening yours, and I think that's kind of neat.
I would love to see our text message change from 2016 when I was like, Jake, found Lady Slimer, game on! Exclamation point.
I know what I said.
Cool. Last toy note before we move on here. Jake, you saw it first this week. NECA officially announced a couple new Back to the Future Ultimate figures. We saw Marty. We saw 1985 Marty.
Two Martys.
Right. So at Toy Fair, they had two Martys on display. They had 1985 Marty, and then they had the alternate Marty in the hazmat suit. And they revealed a new Marty this week, which is the 2015 Future Marty.
Yes.
Which
Future
is
Boy.
Future Boy. Future Boy.
That's what he's called.
That is what he's called. And he looks a lot like his son, Marty McFly Jr., as you recall, who is a what is Marty? What does he say? He calls him something. Anyways, it's
Chicken.
yes. Since when did you become the physical type? I love saying that. And then they also unveiled the 1955 Biff, which technically is Back to the Future 1 and 2 because it does come with the sports almanac with the Ooh La La cover. These figures are amazing.
I don't think they should be selling toys like that with like pornography. Yeah.
I'm offended.
If Toys R Us was still around, that would be a real thing. Like, remember every time like remember like there was a controversy, like some mom somewhere was mad that there was a Chucky toy at Toys R Us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's gotten to the point where like, I mean, fucking, I don't know. All those weird toy rules are dumb. Like remember when Ecto Cooler came out in 2016 and we couldn't put slime on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of my face.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
To
quote Jacob Walsh, go fuck yourself.
God, I love that.
I'm sitting here trying to scrape blue paint off of my Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
And I feel like that could happen at any stage of life. Like you could be 6 years old, 17, 35, 70. All right. Good speech.
Cool. And you could be scraping the paint. Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Stay Puft. Yeah.
Let's rewind and pretend that.
Would you paint over it with like white, or is that just like outlandish?
You can do that.
And upsetting.
No, I mean,
okay.
People do that. Yeah.
Well, Jake, let me
can
ask
see
you
that.
this. This is your first time seeing those up close. What do you think?
They look very good.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome.
They look they look basically identical.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Nice. Okay.
But if I had, one complaint, it would be that the Slimer is not in scale with my Stay Puft. So.
Oh, yeah. I like complaining about the scale of 6-inch figures. Hey, remember that movie Ghostbusters where Stay Puft was 100 feet tall and his action figure is 5 inches? That's okay. Abby, anything else?
Size does matter.
Wrong movie.
I know, but it was fun.
By the way, for our vintage sequel fuck budget we have coming up, I desperately looked for any kind of like Godzilla 2 rumors from like the late 90s, but I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any
because
nobody asked for it.
I think we've extensively talked about some of the stuff that was supposed to happen.
We've covered it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, unfortunately, we lost somebody this week. Jerry Stiller passed away at the age of 92, famously known as Frank Costanza from Seinfeld. Obviously, he's Ben Stiller's dad, but in my mind, he's George Costanza's dad, and by extension, Jason Alexander's dad. In fact, when I heard he died, I went to Jason Alexander's Twitter for his response before I went to Ben Stiller's, because I'm a child and I'm like the cable guy and TV is real to me. Yeah. Abby, how you feeling about that?
I mean, it was a bummer for sure. He has probably my favorite quote from all of Seinfeld, which I took the time to write down. I'm probably going to ask you to say because you do a pretty good Frank Costanza.
Okay.
But yeah, he's in some of my favorite episodes. And I'm heartbroken to hear it, but like he lived a very full life and he did a lot of stuff. So it's, it's okay. I think that I actually ended up ranking my top 10 Seinfeld characters because
well, hold on. We're not there yet.
We're not quite there.
You have to make it seem like we didn't pre-plan that.
No, okay, right. Sorry, the build up. The fact is, he makes me laugh probably harder than like he's in my like core character like lineup. I absolutely love Frank Costanza. I love his temper. And I love his rivalry with the Seinfelds, like the seniors, Mr. and Mrs. Seinfeld. And I love like his old clothes and his cabana wear. And it's very much a bummer to know that he's gone because he's kind of like a part of our family, especially with the fact that Festivus is like an event. And yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember when it was that he passed, but Craig, you wanted to put together like a nice photo for our Instagram.
Yeah.
And I feel like It was kind of funny and appropriate that you're getting a spam risk call right in the middle of this.
No, we're good. It was a spam risk. Don't worry.
So I think it's a Funko toy, the Seinfeld figures.
Yes,
And-
whatever that line of they did
and
like 5 Seinfeld.
Either way, I heard you from the other room. You were setting up a picture, and then you were screaming at our cat Jonesy because he knocked the Frank Costanza figure off and he'd broke it in half.
Yeah,
and you had to like super glue it together just to put the picture back together, and it was
Yeah.
hilarious and fun and kind of a something to
I yelled at
remember.
Jonesy. I was like, George is getting angry. Yeah, I was.
That's my favorite thing about Frank Costanza is just the way he screams everything, even if he's not angry,
Yeah.
or even if it's not something to be he just screams. He decides in every other halfway through every other sentence to yell it.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
great.
And that's my
Got
favorite.
your
That's my favorite.
A's.
The discussion that I wanted to have real quick is
Yeah.
where does Frank Costanza the character fall as far as like it's kind of obviously you've got your core 4, right? You not, excluding Jerry Lane, Kramer, and George. You know, the best part about Seinfeld is there's just so many characters. And I kind of was thinking this week, like, where does Frank fall as far as like the secondary characters in like my pantheon? And I didn't come up with a full list, but I think he's got to be number 1, maybe top 2 or 3. I mean, obviously I love Newman. And I started racking my brain, and I think Frank Costanza is probably, besides the core 4, my favorite character. I mean, just as far as like how his screen time, because he's not on every episode, but when he's there, it's meaningful and you're laughing, and it's just a good time. Abby, I'm interested in what your list was.
I actually have him ranked higher than one of the core members of the top 4.
Okay.
I've got him. Well, my number 1 character is George Costanza. Just I relate the most to him, and his episodes are probably my favorite. And
His
he makes-
episode, like it's Lost.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a George episode.
I do. I love when it's a George-centered episode, and he definitely has like my favorite gags. I have Elaine Bennis at number 2, and then Frank Costanza at 3. I like him more than Jerry Seinfeld. I find that I'm more delighted by his screen time. And let's see, 4, we've got Cosmo Kramer. Number 5, oh, I have Kramer before Seinfeld. 5 is Jerry Seinfeld. 6 is David Puddy. 7, Estelle Costanza. 8 is Kenny Bania. 9 is Uncle Leo. And 10 is Judge Reinhold as Aaron.
Oh,
He doesn't have a last name. I looked it up.
Hey, 1 2-part episode. I'm telling you, that is Judge Reinhold is amazing
Yeah.
on Seinfeld. Anyways, Jake, where do you think Frank falls in this list?
I mean, I agree. He's. I didn't make a list, but he would be.
I didn't either.
Excluding
I'm the only one
the
that ever does.
excluding the main 4. Yeah, I would put him probably in the top 5. I hate fucking God, what's his name? The uncle. What's his
Uncle
name?
Leo?
Uncle Leo?
Uncle Leo.
Yeah.
God, he's so skeezy.
Yeah, he
He
steals
is.
books.
But he's got
and
one of the best lines of all time,
Okay.
which is when he's bragging about Jerry's.
That's why he's on my list,
Hold
because
on.
of this line.
Uncle Leo, he's bragging about Jerry's cousin Jeffrey and how well he did in college and how he became friends with the professor. And he goes,
I'm not going to say it. You don't have to push me.
I'm pushing Abby because I know she wants to interrupt me. He goes, "Can you believe it, Jerry? They go out to actual dinners. That's rare." I love when he says
They're
that's rare.
friends, Jerry. That's rare.
Like that's rare. Like there's a like it's so funny.
My favorite thing with him is when he steals the book at the library or the store or the library or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, Jerry tells on him, and that's also the episode where he's mad that Jerry didn't say hello at some point.
Yep.
So he's like being arrested, and Jerry's like, "Hello," and he's like, "Hello."
Yeah, I think there's so many good characters. I do love Kenny Bania. Again, he's not on there that much, but when he is, it's great. It's really good stuff. David Puddy. I agree with all that, but Frank Costanza,
There's too
Yeah.
many. Yeah, there's too many good characters, but he's obviously like up in the top.
the episode where George's parents are ignoring him, and they fake the Chinese food being delivered.
Yeah.
And then George calls him on it, and he's like, "Frankly, George, we're done with you." And he's like, "Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go make love to your mother."
Yes,
It's so good.
so good. Makes so much sense. Will you close us out with a theatrical reading of my favorite Frank Costanza quote, and then we'll have a moment of silence.
Okay, hold on, let me do it. All right, here it goes. A dramatic reading by Craig Goldberg from the episode The Showerhead, which is classic. There's so much good stuff in that episode. I want to quit right now and just watch Seinfeld. All right, here we go. This is Frank Costanza. You think you can keep us out of Florida? Well, we're moving in lock, stock, and barrel. We're going to be in the pool. We're going to be in the clubhouse. We're going to be all over those shuffleboard courts. And I dare you to keep me out. There you go.
Thank you. Oh, moment of
Good
silence.
job.
All right, that's good. No, that's great. I
Very nice.
love
Thank
that.
you.
I love that, and I love Seinfeld, and that show will be with us forever.
Yeah,
and,
the Costanzas together, like the entire family, makes me laugh and delights me more than like any TV family.
Two quick Seinfeld facts, and then we'll get on to the fuck budget. The first episode that you meet George's mom, when you meet her before his dad, is the episode where George gets caught by himself, and she goes to the hospital.
Treating himself like an amusement park.
Yeah, that is so. God, is that still funny?
Yeah.
And then
She's in traction.
a couple. She's like, George, I'm hungry. Give me a sandwich. The other day, I was thinking, I was like, what side character besides the main four was on Seinfeld the most, like the most episodes? Any guesses before I reveal my fun trivia fact?
Well, at first I would want to say Newman.
I actually know this, so I won't answer.
Because I told you.
Yeah,
already.
you told me.
Okay.
Recently.
I don't know.
So I thought it was Newman too. Newman is actually the correct answer. Newman has, I think he's on like,
Because he's a named character.
yeah, he's like on 50 episodes. But the lady behind the counter at the diner is in every episode of Seinfeld, and it's the same.
Oh.
It's the same actress the entire time.
Jesus Christ.
So
Dang.
That's cool.
Let's
What a
get her
job
on the
that
show.
was.
yeah, I know. Let's have her on. So what was it like not doing
She-
anything?
She must not know she was even on a show.
Yeah.
She must have just been at work.
She saw I worked at this diner at really weird hours.
Yeah, I worked
Those
at
guys yell a lot.
I worked at a fake diner.
Yeah.
My name is George Costanza. I don't have a job. I'm broke, and I live with my parents. All right, cool. So what we got coming up now? You know,
I'm so ready to get into some of these.
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun
it's a
stuff.
good vintage fuck budget.
What I decided
All
to do.
fuck budget should be vintage.
All fuck budget should be vintage. We are doing the normal fuck budget here, but what it is, this is called the vintage fuck budget. We did this once a long time ago, but we're bringing it back. In fact, I think when we did it the first time was for a Patreon episode. We've got 5 topics from years past, and these are all about movie sequels that either did or didn't happen or did not happen in the way that. This is when these movies were like in a rumored state, basically. And these are news pieces about these movies. This is the Yes Have Some vintage fuck budget. I'm very excited about this. Looking forward to this all day. Are you guys ready?
I'm very ready.
Ready.
All right, let's do it.
As
These
I'll
are
ever
these are
be.
fun. Let's do it.
These are
Take me back. I already took it. Because I'm really good at my job.
unlike that lady from Seinfeld who just stood there.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the Vintage Fuck Budget. Here are the rules. Jake and Abigail each have 10 fuck bucks to spend.
Do you really need to be given the rules? Come
No,
on.
Yeah, he does, because people think this fucking segment is called Fuck Bucks. So I think they do.
because our listeners have proven that they don't know what's going on. Listen, you're each gonna spend your fuck bucks. You can't go over budget. Everybody knows the drill. But instead of modern topics and modern news stories, we got new stuff. Let's get into it right now. Here we go. Number 1. News broke this week of an unreleased script for Batman vs. Superman, a movie that was going to be made in the early 2000s, written by Akiva Goldsman, who's now working on the Cavalier and Clay series. His quote, "It was the darkest thing you've ever seen." Let me go ahead and read this little blurb here, and then we're going to get to you guys. So Akiva says, I wrote this version of Batman vs. Superman around 2000 or 2002 when Colin Farrell was cast as Batman and Jude Law was cast as Superman and Wolfgang Peterson was directing. We were in prep and it was the darkest thing you've ever seen. It started with Alfred's funeral and Bruce has fallen in love and renounced being Batman. The Joker kills his wife. And then you discover it was all a lie. Just that the love itself was constructed by the Joker to break Bruce. It was a time where you could be able to get these sort of stories together in script form, but they couldn't quite land in the world. Somehow the expectations of the object, whether they be the audience, corporate, or directorial, it wasn't landing quite in the way I think we imagined when we put them on page. When it comes to the unreleased script for Batman vs. Superman starring Colin Farrell and Jude Law and Joker murdering Batman's wife, Jake, how many fucks do you give?
0. This sounds so stupid. This sounds so dumb. I don't care. I don't.
That was my drama noise.
What the hell was that?
I have a sound button. Listen. Hold on. It's going to happen every time you.
That's only reserved for 0 fucks.
Well, you're going to use it at least one more time this round. Yeah, this sounds really dumb. I don't care about that script. I don't care about that story. I don't care about Batman vs. Superman. I don't care about Colin Farrell. I don't care about Jude Law. I don't give a shit. This sounds so dumb, but also I would have went and watched it.
Dude, yeah, let's be real.
It's the most early 2000s thing. Like, what if we got Jude Law and Colin Farrell? It
sounds like when you're reading what the plot is, it's as if he sounds like he's really like it comes across like he really thinks that would have been a good movie, but it sounds like just really bad. It's just a dumb sounding idea.
That doesn't sound any darker than Joker that came out last year. Like,
yeah.
I love when people.
And I like Joker. Can I just surprise everybody and give my fucks?
Yeah.
I gave this 2 fucks.
Okay.
I liked the story when I read it, and maybe revisiting it and hearing you read it out loud, I'm questioning that now. But I was like, I like dark stories.
Can't take them back.
I like Batman and Superman being played by Colin Farrell and Jude Law. I like both of those guys, those actors. And I feel like maybe if this had been made, it could have been a course correction and a redirection for the DC universe. But it didn't happen. So
hold on.
A course correction?
A course correction of what? Well,
it could have set a new course. Okay, there would have never had to be a correction. It just could have given it a new.
I don't know. This sounds. I don't know.
Well, let's talk.
This sounds very.
Let's talk about the story real quick. So the story is that Alfred's dead, which is whatever. He's pretty old. I'm surprised he's not always dead.
Okay.
And so Batman's in love, and this notion that the Joker created.
Batman's in love. That's how you want to start your. All right, we got a really dark Batman movie. New Batman movie. It's the darkest one. Here's how it starts. Batman's in love.
But there's some episodes of Batman the Animated Series where he falls in love that are dark that I like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are. To me, those are like my least favorite.
All right, well, that's a matter of preference right there. Because I like those. There's episodes of Star Trek Next Generation where, Beverly Crusher has like the love affair with the ghost on like the Scottish island. I fucking love that episode.
I like that episode. That is such a weird fucking episode. But here's the thing, though. I'm not saying that things about love are bad. But it's Batman.
You just don't want it in your Batman. I like.
Here's the thing.
Love interest.
They kind of did this.
Batman's a playboy. He's attractive. Women want him, and I think that who he falls in love with is interesting.
Yeah, sure, and that's okay when you got a comic book or you got a cartoon or a series where it's like episode after episode to explore that stuff. But when you got 1-2 hour movie, I don't fucking care about his love interest.
Hey,
he's got a love interest in a lot of the movies, and that's fine. But it's just like. We got 2 hours of time.
What I love is the idea. Hold on. I like the idea of like, so the Joker is tricking Batman into thinking this woman, like the love isn't real. Does she have an earpiece in on their dates and Joker's like out in the bushes, like telling them?
That would be funny.
And it's
He's like, now say this.
Tell him you like his cowl.
Tell him you like bats.
Tell him you like bats.
Hey, but if the Joker, if the Joker is tricking, Batman into fall, that means the Joker knows Batman
Yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah.
And instead of using that
Wayne.
information for anything, he's
Yeah.
just tricking him. That's so stupid.
That means that the Joker's like the millionaire matchmaker. He's really invested in like Bruce Wayne's like what his needs are romantically.
Now if the movie was by the end of it, the Joker like didn't have the heart to like if the end Joker's like, no, I'm invested in this now and I want them to live. Like the Joker gives up his life of crime so
Joker
Batman can be
becomes the godfather of their kid and like he has to kill her.
I love
your idea.
Joker and Batman are just out in the rain and it's pouring and he's like, she's dead, Joker. And he's like, but the love was real. And I gave you that love.
It's better to have loved than lost than
So
never
at
to have
the
loved
end-
at all.
the Joker realizes that through her, he actually loves Batman. He's the one who was doing
Yes.
everything. He was like, it was her body, but it was my mind. And he's by the end of it, he's like, I love you.
And they kiss,
Yeah.
and then that song is like, did my love open the door?
No, that's where they bring. No, that's where they bring back "Kiss from a Rose."
Oh yeah. And in the middle of Batman and Joker dancing in the rain, Bane shows up and just breaks Batman's back, and the movie ends.
Oh, that's kind of like a Rise of Skywalker thing. I like that.
Yep. See,
Didn't see it coming.
It's not Tom Hardy. It's Bane. What's another?
It's Bane from Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Cool.
No, you've got Jude Law and Colin Farrell. I'm trying to think of an early 2000s. It's Matthew McConaughey as Bane. Yeah, he shows up. He's like, "All right, Batman, we're gonna do this."
No.
Okay, cool. Well,
Okay.
hey,
Channing Tatum.
this movie does not sound
Early
great.
2000s?
No, when
He was
when did
12 years
rise in-
old.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, when did he rise in popularity? I think
Like 2010.
Okay.
Listen, it didn't happen.
Tom Hanks, he's always popular.
Tom Hanks is Bane.
Okay.
He could be America's Bane. Okay, cool. That was fun. Next up, I've never read this before and I'm so excited. So, Ghostbusters 3 news, breaking news from June 2009. This is from an interview in Empire with Harold Ramis, where Harold Ramis is pontificating on what he thinks is going on with Egon in the new Ghostbusters movie. Ramis provides this update on the film to Empire, saying, I'm intrigued by my idea for where Egon has been. He's been working on the International Institute for Imagery Science in Geneva. He's evolved a post-rational, non-conclusive logic for dealing with problems of chaos. Someone asks him, what does that mean? And he says, there are no spatial, conceptual, or intellectual models to describe it, so we don't know. Egon's gone so abstract, even he doesn't know what he's doing. Abigail Gardner, when it comes to Harold Ramis in his description of Egon in Ghostbusters 3, how many fucks do you give?
4 fucks. Mostly because I'm just excited to be reading Harold Ramis' name in a fuck budget and thinking about Egon and analyzing something about Egon, honestly, because it's just fun to talk about Ghostbusters and I miss it. So this, honestly, the abstract, non-spatial, misunderstood Egon, I feel like it kind of is similar to maybe what's going on in Afterlife. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but being a reclusive type person living alone in an old farmhouse, maybe he's distraught over his findings and he's kind of like got nihilistic.
We're going to get a message from Ghost Core tomorrow. I was like, can you guys delete that? You just revealed the plot.
And maybe he's has become endangered by them. Yeah, okay, thank you. Did I? I hope I get that call. And then they're like, Abby, also we want you to do some edits. Not that Jason Reitman needs them.
And we need you to be a stand-in.
Just call me up and let me in on the meeting. I know which seat Ivan Reitman sits in at the Ghost Corps office, so
Yes, we
I won't
picked
sit
it
in
out.
that seat. Cool. That was like a little flex.
Yeah, what was that
That was
about?
a big flex. Go ahead.
Cool. Okay. How many fucks was that?
I gave 4 fucks.
Jake, what'd you think of this? How many fucks?
I gave it 2 fucks. It is definitely cool to be, reading that kind of stuff and thinking about it. But also, maybe I'm just like a big grump. This also kind of sounds dumb to me.
Oh.
Like to just have Egon be so weird that nobody knows what I don't know. Like that just sounds too much to me.
I like Jake the Grump.
Egon's not even a person anymore. He's evolved to like some other being, and he's like
He's like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
spores,
Like,
molds, and
I don't know,
fungus
like-
bore me.
International Institute of Imaginative Science. Like that doesn't make any sense.
I want to hear Dan Aykroyd reacting to this paragraph. I bet it would be something like this.
So serious.
He'd be like, "Wow, that's great."
Gotta be perfect.
Good job.
That's what he would say. Well, we okay. I don't have it tonight. Sorry, everybody. It's a pandemic. Don't worry.
It's tough.
Almost went into Richard Dreyfuss there.
Yeah.
I want Richard Dreyfuss to play Egon.
Whoa.
That's
We
what I'm
need to
saying.
have a impression wheel for you that has everybody on it.
Just Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Just
Wonder.
has 3 different.
Yeah.
I thought this was
Dan
like
Aykroyd.
obviously this wouldn't be the whole plot, but like this is kind of like just
Yeah, sure.
I whatever happened, like we're gonna find out in March, thank God. But whatever happened to Egon, he definitely he was getting into something. We're gonna find out what that was, hopefully. But it's just kind of fun to think about. I mean, listen, there's more than any other movie. I mean, there's an article that came out in 2014 when the reboot was announced, and it has a list of every Ghostbusters 3 rumor that's ever popped up.
Yeah.
And it's extensive. So,
You're still reading it.
I'm still going through this. Apparently, in 1998, every interview with Dan Aykroyd, he's like, "Well, Sony doesn't want to do it. I had to move off the lot. They don't want to do it. It's a $1 billion franchise. They don't want to do it." It's so fucking funny. Okay, cool. I'm excited about this one. This is from 2010. Bill Paxton mulling a 3D Twister sequel. Darker, but still with flying cows. And I believe there's a quote I pulled here from Bill Paxton. Unfortunately, Bill's no longer with us. Maybe we would have gotten this Twister sequel eventually. Paxton argues a 3D tornado could obviously be pretty amazing, and I'll grant him that. A Twister, I'm trying to find the one quote where he talks about... I always thought the first Twister was an exciting ride, but I thought a sequel could explore in a more enthralling way, getting into more of the history and the lore.
The history of tornadoes.
More of a darker version of the first one. You'd still want to have a lot of the dark humor with flying cows and everything. I like that we're calling that dark humor. I think you can kind of intrigue people more by getting a little into the lore and really understanding. Maybe I should just read this in Bill Paxton's voice. I just think there's a lot more to explore there. Jake, how many fucks?
This is also kind of dumb. No, just kidding. 6 fucks.
Whoa, the first ever F6.
Oh, fuck. I was about
6
to go there
fucks.
too.
I want a Twister sequel. I think it would have been great. It would have been really fun to have a Twister sequel. Like this article says, it was the second highest grossing movie of the year. It came out in 96, I think. Yeah, I'm for 3D sequel. I don't give a shit. Give me a Twister sequel. I still, even without Bill Paxton, I still want a Twister sequel. 6 fucks.
Same.
Do you now? Well, Abby, you go first, and I have a question for you guys. Abby.
Yo, first of all, what dark humor, Bill? What history and what lore? I don't know what you're talking about, but I like the way you're saying it. I gave this 4 fucks. I would watch Twister 2, Route is Good, Route is Wise, just like following the ragtag group. Or
No,
roll the maps, don't
no.
fold the maps.
By the way, if they named it, Jake would be very upset about that tagline.
Why?
Or that because he need Twister 2, not Route is Good, Route is Wise.
Oh, you don't want Twister 2? Okay.
Twister Afterlife.
I'll have to work on that. I've been watching Twister a lot. We watch it, first we watched part of it on our big screen TV, and then we went into our room to go to bed, and I put it on VHS the other night, and it's just, I've really been enjoying it.
Good movie.
Yeah. I want to see a sequel to this, and I think that the way that Bill Paxton talks about this is so serious and self-important, and it makes me really happy, and I love it. So yeah, 4 fucks, and I kind of wish I'd given more at this point.
Yeah, I guess my question was, do you guys care about the history and the lore of tornadoes? Like, is there
There's a little. I mean, there's not. So when you say lore, there's no lore. That is he's talking about Twisters as if Twisters are not a real thing,
Like they're
or as if
mythical.
they're like a mythical being or something.
Like
it's a Twister. It's a tornado. He probably said the word lore and didn't really mean that.
Yeah.
He probably wanted to talk, but I get what he's saying. You can talk about, I don't know, you can get more into other, there's been a lot of pretty big tornado disasters, in the history of
Right.
the world.
Yeah.
They could explore some stuff for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always thought it was pretty cool that every now and then the clouds decide to attack the people.
Yeah.
I've also always thought it would be really funny if they, if at the end of Twister, the tornado that they're running from decides to speak, and it talks to Joe, and it's revealed to Joe that it is the same Twister from that killed her father, and that they are alive. And like that, I don't know. That's ridiculous.
No.
but
I think that's I think it's my favorite thing you've ever said.
Yeah.
And I also think you could have lore explored, like if Bill were to go to like some remote part of Kansas where there's like people who worship the tornadoes as a god, but it does turn out to be the one from the beginning, and it's always been the same tornado.
Yeah. I like the idea of what if since Bill Paxton's passed, like how do you do a movie? Do it like the Midnight Society and Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's a campfire scene, and they're all just telling different stories about the extreme.
Cool. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty cool, yeah.
But there's little flashbacks, and like you can get different actors. You can do a younger Bill. You could see, like, where did Bill first learn about? Where did he gain his obsession?
Whoa!
When was the extreme born?
Yeah.
Naked. Not naked.
Holding a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Naked.
Not naked.
I told Jake the other day, I noticed this Easter egg for the first time ever watching Twister, that right before the tornado hits Aunt Meg's house in Waukita, she's watching Gone with the Wind. And that's why I always thought it was lame when she tells Joe there was no warning. Because I was like, you had foreshadowing right there. Like, actually, the earlier in the day, you had tornado chasers at your old ass creaky house. Like, I think we all knew what was going to happen.
All the metal wind chimes all over the place.
Yeah.
And I know I've talked about this a lot, and then we'll move on. But my absolute favorite thing in Twister, I think it's the funniest thing, is right when they pull up to Aunt Meg's house, they get out of the van, and two of the dudes just immediately start tossing the football back and forth. They've been outside in the open. They've been outside their entire life. The beginning of the movie, they're just at like a campground.
They like football.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, sweet. A little bit of downtime in between Twisters. You fire out that pigskin, man. Come on. Yeah, good stuff. Cool. And there's at least 3 people on that team that are totally useless. We could just cut right out of the movie completely.
Well, especially now that GPS is a thing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
yeah, sorry, Rabbit.
Roll the Maps is fucking fired.
Yeah. That guy probably worked at Radio Shack, and he got fired when Radio Shack went under.
Then he got a job at Movie Gallery.
And then they called him. They're like, "Hey man, how you hold up?" "Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Joe. Actually, I just got to move a new job at Circuit City." And things are going pretty good. Cool. And what's Jonas doing here is also my favorite line in the movie, because well, he's a tornado chaser, and you're all chasing tornadoes.
Self-explanatory.
Okay, cool.
Same
next
thing
up.
you're doing here.
We're all pretending like we haven't had this conversation.
This next one's a good one.
50 times on the podcast. All right, next up. Solo. Will there be a sequel? The answer is no, obviously, but people are pushing for it. There's been some campaigns. There was an interview with John Kasdan, who wrote the movie, and kind of dropped some hints that he wanted to see further exploration of like Darth Maul and the Hutts and all that shit. Jake, when it comes to the Solo sequel, is there anything redeeming that you could imagine this movie could bring you, and how many fucks do you give?
No, I don't have anything to say about this. 0. I gave this 0 fucks. That movie was the worst Star Wars movie I've ever seen. It tarnished Han Solo. It did no good. I don't care.
All right, Abigail.
Yeah, amen. I echo you. I gave 0 fucks. I had to check the date on this article to make sure that it was old, and I was very happy to read that it was 11 months old and it's not current and that nobody's talking about this. Still, because that movie was garbage, I agree with you, Jake. The person who wrote this article also doesn't understand how spoiler alerts work, because at one point they just spoil Rogue One. And then they're like, oh yeah, also spoiler alert afterwards, which is annoying.
They spoiled Rogue One. They're like, oh, the rebels got their hands on the Death Star plans.
Yeah, and also like the tweet that John Kasdan put out that started all this, the Make Solo 2 happen again hashtag, is like, it's just it's just annoying, and it's not going to happen, and I don't know who those people are that liked it. I mean...
Well, that brings me to the discussion I wanted to have real quick, and because I knew you were both going to give 0 fucks, I would also give 0. I don't like Solo. You do realize that the 3 of us are very much in the minority, and most Star Wars people claim they like this movie. Jake, you think they're lying?
Nobody likes this movie.
It's
Right?
so hard to finish. Like, I've tried to watch it. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I know people like it. I understand that. But maybe those people haven't seen Star Wars before.
Yeah.
Or maybe they haven't watched other good
This
movies.
sucks. This movie sucks. This movie
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
I just sometimes wonder
I'm
when
annoyed talking about it.
Yeah, they
Okay.
kill the best character like 30 minutes into the movie. It's very frustrating. It's muddled and
shitty
a
movie.
letdown. It's a big letdown.
You know what's really funny, by the way? Before this movie came out, I remember some people like talking shit, and I remember the three of us being like, you got to be open-minded. You got to give it a chance. And then we all saw it, and we're like, ooh, never mind.
I mean, be open-minded, but if the movie sucks, the movie sucks.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
threw out my IHOP cups.
Dude, I saw ours. We were going through our closets this past couple days, and I saw them in a
I was
bin.
like, these are going in the fucking trash.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
I mean-
meal that I had at Denny's, I think, was better than the movie
Oh, yeah.
to get those cups.
100%.
And that was
100%.
not a good meal, as I recall.
That's going to be your t-shirt. The meal I had at Denny's was better than the Solo cups from Han Solo. And also, it was not a good meal. It sounds like Leslie Knope.
Pretty good.
Good stuff.
It's going to be a big t-shirt.
Okay. Last item on the fuck budget. Boy, oh boy. This has to do with Nightmare on Elm Street. Robert Englund talking about how he, and this is from a couple years ago, and honestly, he's said this a lot, but I thought it'd be fun. He talks about a script for a prequel called Krueger First Kills. The last children being killed. Two cop detectives that found Freddy bust him, and in the body of the film were ambulance chasing sleazy lawyers that get Freddy off. And the lawyers are actually the best part of the movie. There's two of them, and Freddy in court, Freddy at the table, Freddy on the witness stand, Freddy in jail. But it's about the lawyers getting him off, and they get him off, and Freddy gloats too much on the courtroom stair. At the end of the movie is Freddy being burned alive. When it comes to My Cousin Freddy, Abigail Gardner, how many fucks do you give about this?
0 fucks. I love Freddy Krueger. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. This, I don't know who's asking for a courtroom drama for Freddy Krueger's universe, and I like when I think about horror movies, I don't think about lawyers and the characters, the main characters
Or
being lawyers.
podcasters. Halloween.
Yeah, that was also annoying actually. So it was, and that quote, it's about the lawyers getting him off, and they get him off. That's so terrible. I'm not going into that territory. Don't worry, you just gave me a look.
How old were the lawyers?
Yeah, the
Stop it.
original idea of going back into and showing the basically the townspeople, the families burning him alive, and like what precipitated that might be interesting, but the case that unfolds and the drama in the courtroom and the jail sounds fucking stupid. So I don't care. And thank you very much, Jake. What about you?
Okay.
I got really mad at this. I didn't like it at all. I feel like I would hate that movie.
Well, let me tell you, Abby.
Yeah.
If you hate this idea, then, don't watch the episode of Freddy's Nightmares where they've already made this.
It exists.
Oh,
This already
God.
exists. The first episode, the very first episode of the Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street TV show is Freddy's trial.
Jesus.
This already exists. I gave this one fuck because I do like, I would watch any Nightmare on Elm Street film. I like those movies. I like Robert Englund. But yeah, I also don't want to see, nobody wants to see Freddy as a human. Also, the problem with that, other than it being boring, is that when Freddy Krueger was a human, his sexual and murder victims were like children,
Right.
like 6-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he died and became Freddy Krueger, those kids had grown up to the age of being like teenagers by that point. So they're able to make the movies where it's teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me, Robert Englund, that you want to make a Freddy Krueger movie where we watch you kill 6-year-old kids? No, nobody's going to make
With no
nobody's
magic or
making that
mysticism.
movie. It's not happening. And and part of it already has happened. So Stop.
Yeah.
Hey, we should watch that. By the way, we should do a little.
I'm totally down. That sounds like a bonus episode.
Yeah,
maybe near
watching that
Halloween.
first episode of Freddy's Nightmares. Listen, the only cool thing right now to do with Nightmare on Elm Street, besides getting somebody who's really talented to somehow remake, revisit, reboot, in my opinion, would be to do like those like real crime docuseries like on Netflix. Do like a 5-part docuseries about Freddy Krueger.
Fuck.
With like
yes,
with,
like a fictional docuseries.
Yeah.
Like that sounds. Has that ever been done?
Sure.
Like with a slasher serial killer, like a icon, that would be really fucking.
That would be cool because then you can, if you want to have lawyers and investigators and all, but then you can have people who like believe the lore, not the Twister lore, not the Bill Paxton's on there, but he's on the wrong show. They just like, and then the parents of the Elm Street children burned down the boiler room. Here to comment on it's the extreme. Yeah, I think there's a lot of creative things to do with it, but the Freddy Krueger story, for all intents and purposes, has been told. And it's not the kind of thing where you just need to see the prequel to really... It's like, even anytime they've tried to do like... And Jake, you probably know more than I do. Are any of those Texas Chainsaw prequels, are any of them good? Is it ever good?
The prequels? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. None of that stuff's good. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, do we want to see a Scream prequel where it's just...
No. It doesn't make sense.
Where
Like,
it's just...
you can't...
No.
You can't make a Freddy prequel. Like, Freddy Krueger becomes Freddy Krueger. You know, like, you don't... What's the point of watching him as a human?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
It's like a Scream prequel. It's Stu and Billy just watching horror movies and taking notes for 2 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I might
make
watch
sense.
that. But yeah, it's tedious, boring, unnecessary.
I mean, I'll
doesn't matter.
throw
Add
money
suspense.
at it.
Oh yeah, I'm buying it. I'm getting
Definitely.
I want the
I'm there.
the NECA courtroom diorama.
Courtroom he got in there and mixed your figures up.
Actually, hey, listen, little. I need John Yurkeva or somebody to draw this scene. It's the courtroom. It's the Freddy Krueger trial, and we learned that he isn't actually burned by being burned alive in the boiler room. It's actually Batman trying to protect him burns Freddy Krueger's face in the courtroom, and that's when he becomes Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay.
Similar to Harvey Dent. All right, cool. Well, that was the vintage fuck, but that was fun. I had a good time.
That's a good.
Nice.
Last little tag, and then we'll wrap up. I read an article this week that Neve Campbell says that she has been in contact with those new writers and directors of the Scream sequel, and that she's not against returning. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about this because I always love a good sequel, and it just never seems to turn out like I wanted. And we all know that Scream 4 isn't great. But it would feel weird to have a Scream movie without Neve Campbell. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted to put that out in the world.
Yeah, there's a chance it could be terrible, but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah,
I like Neve Campbell a lot, and those are great movies.
You can't ruin the Scream legacy. Like, it is what it is.
They already have. So
Although I know Jake disagrees with me on like which ones are good, because I like Scream 2 a lot.
I like Scream 2. Scream
Yeah.
3, not so much.
Yeah.
And the
Scream 1 is a masterpiece.
Yeah. 2 tries a little
That's
bit
it.
harder.
That's it. I don't have anything
Pretty
else to
That's
say
it.
about the sequel.
Scream's a
That's it.
masterpiece.
Scream is a masterpiece.
Cool.
The rest are not good.
Not good. Not good. Yeah. And then we're going to get a Friday the 13th prequel with Jason and his mom.
Jason's mom dropping him.
God, you just really happy with that.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, guys. Well, that was good. What? Anything else? Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I got my Jabba Glob in the mail for those of you who have been watching our eBay hangs. So I'm really excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it out of package. It's very, very cool.
Cool.
I'm gonna go fix my Stay Puft.
Jake has an art project.
What's your plan? How do you?
I think just some paint.
Paint it.
Yeah, I think I'll just paint it.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. Couple YHS updates. We will have a bonus episode dropping on the Patreon feed probably next week, so keep your eyes open for that. Anybody who's currently on Patreon, you are still getting May and June for free. So enjoy that. We'll get some more bonus content coming your way. We do have the eBay hangs on Friday nights. Check that out. All that information's on our social media, which is at YHS Podcast. And then, of course, the YouTube channel. We got unboxings and contests, and there's all sorts of shit going on.
Yeah. Check our website if you want to see and read the art review of the YHS review of the Ghostbusters.
What are you trying to
book.
say over there?
God damn it. I don't know. I had an aneurysm. Go to yhspodcast.com if you'd like to read our review of the Ghostbusters art book. It is up and I wrote it.
Yeah, there you go. Pre-order's up. Congratulations to
it's sick.
Everybody involved. Yes, have some group therapy. Jake, I don't know if you saw this today, but you were tagged in a photo. Somebody said that Russell Crowe in his new movie was reminding them of you.
I did. I'm gonna go watch the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, Russell Crowe is great.
Unless it's
unless he's trying to sing. Yeah.
Unless it's Les Mis.
Oh, I forgot. He's not good at that.
Jake's the Gladiator.
Yeah, I loved Gladiator. I saw that in the theater.
That's a good movie. Yeah.
Yes,
cool, for sure.
I was into that.
Abigail, let them know about Facebook group therapy.
Oh yeah, Facebook group therapy. Just log into your Facebook, search for Yes Have Some Podcast Group Therapy. You'll find our closed group. It is growing. We want to get it to 1,000 members. But it's still quality content in there, and we'd like you to keep it that way. Don't post memes.
Okay.
Ask to join.
This is my favorite part where you just start scolding them before they.
First of all, ask to join, and then myself, Craig or Jacob Walsh will accept you, or Ryan, because he's a great admin. But then once you're in there, don't mess around. Lurk first, figure out what's cool, figure out who you like, leave nice comments, good feedback. Don't post memes. And if you do, they're going to get taken down.
Yeah,
that's just
there
fact.
you go.
Cool.
Lots of good discussion in there surrounding the new Ghostbusters figures and all sorts of stuff. And that's about it. We'll see everybody next week. And stay safe, stay healthy. I feel like the country.
Buy toys.
Buy toys.
Buy toys.
Fuck
make
everything
paella.
else. We don't need to talk. Fuck all that dumb stay home. Like, we get it. Just go buy a toy.
Buy a toy. Make a fuck budget
on the internet. Buy it on the internet, but just do it.
Buy it on the internet. Or be like me, go to the store with a mask and gloves, and then get on the internet and find a better price. And then
exactly. That's
for Abigail Gardner.
It's part of the process, though.
Jacob Walsh. My name's Craig Goldberg. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for joining Yes Have Some Podcast. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.